Leaders meet Raila back referendum. These are leaders from Embu County. They were led by the former Minister Joe Nyaga. And they've resolved now to support calls for a referendum. It says here, quote, Nyaga says, as leaders from Embu, we will go to the grassroots and tell people to support the referendum. We have identified areas in the Constitution that need to be changed. A lot of reconciliation, a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it jostling for positions before 2022. People trying to read a lot of political political dealings in a lot of these. Waiguru and Raila, of course, yesterday reconciling. What do you make of this, Honorable Kirwa? Is this politically motivated? Because, I mean, 2022, years from now, but still not too far. Yeah.
I think the web of our nation that is tying us together is the politics.
Yeah.
I think Kenyans have become more political than any other country in East Africa. I can say that without any fear of being contradicted by proper research, because we spend 3/4 of our time, whether it is in a bar, whether it's in a bus, whether it is in school, politics will always pervade the atmosphere that we live in. Once I've said that, it's also important that this issue of referendum should not be confused with 2022. I maintain this feeling that there are certain strong principles why we should do an audit of the Constitution. One of the principles is to effect service delivery so that it is less costly to deliver service to a village in my county or in Laikipia or in Nyandarua than it is today. The other thing is the issue of equity. We've not really addressed that, and also inclusivity. We've not addressed those issues. Even the current constitution is yet to tell us what is the gender parity in terms of the position of women in parliament.
Right.
We've not said that. Now, for me, I don't want to rush to the referendum. I just want us to think of how to audit the constitution. We say which are areas of conflict. How can we make them better, regardless of whether it's going to be Raila or any other person who is going to be our presidential candidate and our president in 2022. This is very important, but you see, Kenyans, we gloss over issues, and in the process, we politicize even a very noble idea of trying to make the constitution serve us as Kenyans. Because I can say, this constitution, having served as a member of parliament, as assistant minister and minister, this constitution was driven more by civil society. People who do not really know where the nuts and the bolts are in terms of what a machine called the government. I have a feeling that if we had looked at it properly, we would not be having the kind of heavy layers on governance. Look, for example, Victoria. We have what we call county commissioner, appointed by the government, by the president. We have a governor. There is sub-county, and there is also, at the sub-county, there is somebody appointed also by the governor. At the location, we have 3 people, the chief, the ward administrator, and also the MCA. How are they going to work? Are we creating areas of conflict or areas of service delivery?
Right.
These are issues we must interrogate. And Prime Minister Raila, possibly, I've had a chance to sit down with him, is very clear on how he wants this constitution to be less costly than it is today.
And you raise a very important point in terms of Kenyans glossing over issues, not really understanding even this push for the referendum. Again, it's been politicized. Like you said, it was being driven by the civil society. It needs now to be taken up by the people themselves. How do we get that to happen, even though, of course, politicians are trying to get mileage out of this narrative?
You see what is happening right now is if there's one person who's giving politicians the publicity that they require, especially from different regions, is the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. We see every meeting with which he meets with anybody that is close to the Mount Kenya region, it has to be publicized. You look at the genesis of all these. There was that meeting where the likes of Kabado. There's a group that had visited him at Capitol Hill. Then there was a follow-up meeting later, Waiguru meeting him, and there's always political conclusions that are made. And now you have Embu leaders here, and these are politicians that we know that they still have political ambitions. And so what is happening is some of these politicians might not be genuine in their quest for referendum. If you ask them for what they really want, if it's a referendum, what they really want in that constitution changed, they do not have a clear roadmap. But what they know is that right now, what we have as the hot subject is Raila, Ruto, referendum, whether you're going to go for it. And so that's the reason why right now you will always see there are realignments. There are those ones now who are very happy to go meet and go around the country with the Deputy President, Raila, Ruto. And then there are those who are very happy that for every meeting that they meet Raila, then they have to do what? They have to show that they're also part of the handshake. Right. So I believe some of these people are not genuine. I would not say that their quest for referendum is genuine. It is they just want political mileage from their meetings with Raila. It is the same thing when we saw Obado and when the Deputy President visited him in Migori. Yeah. And it was clear in asking people of Migori, have you given me permission to go around the country with the Deputy President so he can bring development to us? So it is all about political realignment. The referendum is just being used for shadow boxing, I would say that. So people will realign themselves whether they are for or against the referendum, depending on whether they are in Tangatanga or in these yes, or in Kieleweke. Or they're in the handshake, there's also that group that calls itself the handshake. Yeah. So in all these, we have to look at it as a on a case-by-case basis, and also interrogate the previous positions that have been taken by these leaders. Yeah, yeah. We know Nyaga has a history, for example, with the Right Honorable Prime Minister. He was part of the Pentagon way back in 2007. So I would not rule out politics in the whole of this mix.